Hi and welcome back to the channel. I apologise for not putting any content out for a short while. I've been suffering some pain with some radiation burns to my chest from the radiotherapy treatment I'm receiving for my breast cancer. But anyway, today I want to talk about Boris Johnson and his propaganda regarding Ukraine. Now on Victory Day, Boris Johnson made a speech that was broadcast on national television. Now let's just have a look at that speech.
As we celebrate victory over fascism in the Second World War, a great European nation is fighting for survival against a brutal invasion. And I'm honoured to take this opportunity to emphasise once more the United Kingdom's unflinching support for the brave people of Ukraine. They ask for nothing except to live in peace and freedom in their own land, which is the right of every country. And all nations that believe in this right and want it for themselves share an obligation to stand with Ukraine against Vladimir Putin's aggression. In the 75 days since the onslaught began, Ukrainians have fought back with dauntless strength and courage, repelling the Russian assault on Kyiv, derailing Putin's invasion plan, and showing the world that no amount of force can overcome a people determined to be free. We in the United Kingdom have been proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with our Ukrainian friends from the very beginning, supplying Javelin and NLAW missiles to defend against tanks, Starstreak missiles to protect against air attack, Brimstone to guard against the threat from the sea. And now we're sending armoured vehicles and advanced radars to locate the heavy artillery pounding Ukraine's cities. We've also provided over £1 billion of economic support, along with ambulances, medical supplies, and humanitarian aid. And we have condemned Putin's war of choice in the United Nations and every other international forum, joined by scores of countries from across the world. And when this agony is over, Britain will help Ukraine to rebuild and defend itself from any future aggression. On this anniversary, I have never been more certain that Ukraine will win. Ukraine will be free, and a sovereign Ukraine will rise again, and Britain will be with you for as long as it takes. Thank you, and Slava Ukraini.
Now, towards the end of that speech, it's very interesting because Boris Johnson says that he's never been more sure that Ukraine will win. But this is in stark contrast to what he said in a press conference only just a couple of weeks ago when he visited India and spoke to Narendra Modi there. So let's jump into this article from Nikkei Asia and see what Boris Johnson actually said. So it says, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Friday conceded that the war in Ukraine could last until 2023 and that Russia could emerge as the victor. Johnson was asked during a news conference in New Delhi if he agreed with indications from Western intelligence officials that the war in Ukraine could continue until the end of next year and that a Russian victory could be a possible end scenario. He said, the sad thing is that this is a realistic possibility, said Johnson, after holding talks with Indian counterpart Narendra Modi during a 2-day visit. So, what has changed between now and 2 weeks ago in that Boris Johnson feels so confident that Ukraine will win? Well, if you look at Western media, and primarily from Europe, the UK and the USA, everything gains that Russia have made are all played down, and the very small sort of gains, if any, that Ukraine have made are hyped up. They will very rarely report that Russia are making gains, etc., etc. Now, why is this? Why has Boris Johnson suddenly thinking that Ukraine will win the war. Now, maybe it's because that they have sent tens, if not hundreds of millions of pounds worth of arms to Ukraine. And as we see on alternative media, many of those arms are pretty much useless. They're either the Ukrainians can't use them properly because they've not had enough training. They're either getting destroyed by Russia, which a large amount are, or they're getting seized by Russia, which again a large amount are. Again, that's not something you see in Western media, but if you look at alternative media, you will see all these reports. And secondly, maybe it's because he's got to sort of try and get behind or get the population in the UK to continue supporting the efforts they are putting into Ukraine. As he said in the speech, they've sent over £1 billion worth of aid to Ukraine. And this is the time where inflation is about to hit double digits in the UK and there's a cost of living crisis. You know, even the Bank of England have said that the cost of living is going to be the worst since, you know, in 40 or 50 years. People are going to feel a lot poorer. And a lot of the inflation and the cost of living issues are as a direct result of the sanctions that the UK, the EU and the US have applied to Russia. And I will cover this in another video, but it's fairly clear that those sanctions are hurting the Western countries far more than they're hurting Russia. So anyway, I feel it's to try and, I think the UK has tried to hoodwink the public that all this aid and military equipment they're sending is really helping Ukraine, when the reality of it is that it in fact isn't, and that huge amounts of money are being pumped in with little or no effect. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I'd love to know what you think down in the comments below. But as always, for now, take care.